It's like a double-edged sword, right? Job's making you miserable, and you're trying to hang on to some sense of yourself, and try not to succumb to your breaking your values or any of your morals. You know, so you're trying to play this game, this very dangerous game with your soul, you know. You know, and you could lose all your money and the people you love through this process. But what I found out was I completely lost myself. Not because of the drugs or the mental illness. I became something else because I stayed in that business. Or... that was the toughest part, right? Because now that you're no longer in that business, you're left with this shell of yourself. Like, who the fuck am I? I'm this now? Okay, well, what do I do? Oh, I know exactly what I do, because this is the type of person I am. This is what I'm going to do, right? So you continue the same path, because now you've become this thing. And this thing is miserable and full of hate. And you're gonna be drawn to your next job that allows you to be that person, and that's what's happened to me, right? "Quote unquote" muscle hire. You know, and then the light bulb finally goes off, and just like, I can't be this person anymore. It wasn't like, oh, I can't handle this mental illness anymore. Oh, I can't handle being a drug addict anymore. Oh, I can't handle being an alcoholic anymore. It was like, who the fuck was I when I was 18? You know, when looking everything back, like, let's see if we can find that guy again. You know, what was that guy at 18 thinking about? You know, what was the dreams of that 18-year-old? What was his aspirations? Of course, besides fucking getting laid, because 18-year-olds, that's all they think of was getting laid, right? You know, and driving home from out west, dude, it was like, it's impossible. There's no, I've done too much, I've come too far. There is just no way to change what I became. And it all started from being in a job that I didn't like. Actually, like is a soft word. Like, I fucking hated going to work. I fucking hated it. I can't stress how much I hated it. And bodybuilding's always been in my life since a kid. Something always threw me off track. Even when I was Loblaws, you know, in the early days. Well, of course, my first memory of bodybuilding was Joe Weider's Bodybuilding Encyclopedia. It was like a package, you know. You get this book and charts and stuff. It was like in 1983. You know, and I always went back to it. And like I said, I could never stick with it, right? Like, even when I got really sick when I was off, probably 2013, just a couple years before I was let go. I figured it out. I had figured it out. But given that situation at that time, I just couldn't pursue it. a lot of reasons. But that stuck with me. It stuck with me. You know, I even remember saying in one of my past videos, you know, I was actually trying to think, when was I, since, you know, like, it couldn't have been all bad since I started with Costco in '96. There must have been some points in my life where I was really happy. You know, there must have been some points in there. And a lot of those, the two of those times was when I was actually into bodybuilding, really into bodybuilding. You know, 1998, me and my first wife were really into it. Like, we actually had a gym in our house, like fucking serious fucking gym. You know, I think we spent almost over 10 grand on it. You know, and then again in 2008, you know, working out made me happy, but I just couldn't sustain it. I just couldn't sustain it. I wouldn't make it a priority over everything else. My job always came before that. Always came before that. You know? Came before your happiness, your own happiness. You know, you have to plan for your escape. You have to, if you're in a shitty job, you know, and you want to follow your passion, you have to plan for it, you know. But what you fail to say is it's going to be a hell of a lot more than that. It's going to be, you have to take a pretty good look at who you are now, you know. And that was probably one of my biggest challenges. The job became who I was. Like, that's what it was. This character, this turbo, this number one. You know, there was no Scott outside of work and Scott at work. It was the same guy. You know, living the same story, living the same craziness. There wasn't a separation. There wasn't a home life and a work life. You know, that was the hardest part. Was, well, this person doesn't know how to do anything else. Okay, so I got a helpful video for you guys today. I'm going to share my experience, and hopefully if it happens to you, you'll know how to react properly. So, most of you know that I take testosterone and anabolic steroids, right? No secret. If you didn't know, or if you are have experience with that, you know, sometimes things can go wrong when you do your injections. I did a video talking about the injection sites and that. And usually the site that people have the most problems with are in the thigh, because there's lots going on in the thigh. And I've explained because I have no one to do the injections for me. My injection protocol are, I take a shot every day. So one shot is shoulder here. Then what I do is, I go 1, 2, 3. And I just kind of rotate. So it'd be like, I do it high here, and then the shoulder, then low here, and then the shoulder, and here. So anyways, I kind of rotate around. So I've been doing since I've been taking anabolic steroids, well, testosterone, DECA, Tran, all that shit, since probably, I think it's 2019. And I've only had, well, call them bad shots, you know, hit a vein, got a bruise, but nothing really that that made me go, holy fuck. Well, I had a holy fuck moment about 2 weeks ago. It was right before work. I wanted to do a video, but I wasn't set up for it. You know, I'd have a stand. I couldn't show you guys in the heat of the moment what I was actually doing. So I'm just going to tell you my experience, and if it happens to you, you'll know how to react. So it was a leg shot, okay? I'll show you exactly where it was, and you can see, probably still see the site. It was right here. Let's see if we can get a close-up of that. So it was right here. So let me explain to you what happened. I'm going to grab a couple of needles there just to give you... I'm going to try and explain this as best as possible. I've never had a problem with my leg shots ever. When I used to do them up top, sometimes it would bruise. But I don't do them up here anymore. There's a lot more veins going on here now, and I'm like, look, I'm like, yeah, I'm going through one of these fuckers, right? But usually on the side here, down around here, it's usually, you know, it's not usually any problem. Usually if you get to this, if you got in here, you're in between like tendons, and that's kind of what happened to me. Because what you don't want to do is be in a flexed position, right? You just kind of want to have your leg just kind of like sit, like just like sitting but not flexed, just like what's the word, how it, you just want your leg just nicely in this position. You don't want to be like flexing. The best way I've found for leg shots is when my second wife used to do them for me. I used to lay on my side, so the thigh was completely relaxed. You know, I was on my side, my legs were like kind of like on top of each other, and she would just do the shots here. Never had a problem. But when you're doing it yourself, it's kind of hard to get in that relaxed position, right? So I'm going to explain to you what happened. So as always, always, you know, make sure everything's clean and sanitized. That's always number one. And that wasn't what affected this shot. This shot was because I hit a nerve. So now you always want, the thing with, like, the reason I probably never had a problem with any of my leg shots, because I don't just put them in like a dart. You know, I go, where's my, you know, I want to give you guys a real good close-up and just show you, you know, just take your time with this, you know. That was probably rushed, you know. So once you've pierced the skin, okay, you just twist it and put it in slow. Take your time. Just put it in slow. Take your time with it. You know, it goes in a lot easier once you push the oil out and it's lubricating the needle, but just push it slow. Take your time. And sometimes if you hit the nerve, you'll feel it. So just give it a second. You can move the needle around like this and then just keep going. See, I went too fast. When I hit the nerve, I probably just, I aggravated it. Let me just take this out. So I probably just aggravated it. Now what happened was, I didn't know it was a nerve, okay, at first. I had to pinch, but after I pulled the, oops, a little bit of blood there. After I pulled it out, this is what happened. Normally, if it's a vein and you pull it out, you'll get some blood. If it's a big vein, it'll push it'll push the oil out. So that's how you know you got a really big vein. Like, it'll come bubbling right out. There's still nothing to worry about. But when you hit a nerve, what happens is this. You'll get a big, like, kind of a swelling, like a bump. It looks almost like an acne boil. You know, like it pops right out. It looks like a big bubble. Like there's something underneath the skin. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm freaking out. I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, I must have hit a really big vein, right? Because, I mean, it was really popping out. So I kind of composed myself and said, okay, Scott, let's just assess the situation. You're not dying. Just take a breath. I was feeling rushed because before work, that's why I got a little anxious. If I didn't have to go to work, I probably would have been a little more mellow about the situation. But I was feeling rushed, and it was like 3 in the morning. The light wasn't very good in here, so I couldn't see what was going on. So when you get the bubble that comes up, so what I did is I took the needle and I stuck it in the bubble. You know, trying to remain calm. Stuck it in the bubble, and I pulled back on the plunger. Now, that if the plunger filled with the blood, I knew it had a really big vein. And if it was filling up with blood, that means get to the emergency room, right? Because it's swelling with blood, so it's just gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're gonna have some serious problems. So when I stuck it in and I pulled it out, there was no blood. In the bump that arose, there was no blood when I stuck it in and pulled on the plunger. So immediately I knew, okay, it was probably just a pinched nerve, and it just kind of popped out. I don't know the exact terminology for that, but I knew it wasn't a busted blood vessel to the point where I was going to be in serious trouble. So that's the experience, and that's what happened. And I went to work. I kept my eye on it, and sure enough, in a couple hours, it went down. It was a bit of a bruise, but not too bad. Like, I've had bigger bruises from shots. But hopefully this this scenario I just told you will help if it ever happens to you. Because some of us just don't have a choice but to do leg shots, right? Like, I can't even reach my own ass to do it. I just can't. So, hopefully this video helps if this scenario ever happens to you. I'll see you guys again. Take care of yourself, take care of each other. God bless yourself. Stay safe, guys.
Mental wounds not healing. Life's a bitter shame.